Let's do a quick recap. Here's what we've been going over the past few days. We've talked about me hitting rock bottom. We have talked about my check into treatment. And we have talked yesterday about a tool that I learned in treatment called HALT. That's to never get too hungry, angry, lonely, tired. We talked about that and some different ways to combat those dangerous places. You can go back and watch all of my videos on this Facebook page or on the YouTube channel, which obviously if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, great job. Awesome. You know, I don't really like to fly by a script. So this morning I had no idea what I was going to do. No idea what I was going to talk about. And honestly, in those moments, I kind of find myself feeling like, do I have much to offer? Do I keep doing this thing? Do I just write the memoir and scrap the video altogether? And then I just sort of relax, I meditate on it, and it occurs to me, it's like, oh, here's what I need to talk about today. And over the past couple of days, I've had a few people bring up to me that they feel guilty that they didn't notice when I was in the throes of addiction, that they didn't notice that I was battling mental illness. Well, anybody who has been there, done that, can probably agree with me that we who are battling addiction, we who are struggling with mental illness, we are the Olympians of hiding things. We're absolute champions of it. And you know what? We will do it. If we're battling mental illness, we will do everything in our power to hide that because we don't want to feel stigmatized and we don't want to bring people down with us. And if we're addicts, obviously we will hide it to the very best of our ability because we can't bear the thought of it being taken away from us because, you know, put off all the sirens. Here's the breakthrough moment. We're addicted. We feel like we can't live without the alcohol. I'm fortunate in that I never, went down this road, but hard drugs. So this is kind of that moment where it's not your fault. And really there's this circle of guilt that goes on because now we feel guilty that we didn't share. You feel guilty because you didn't notice it. And like I put in the tagline, it's not your fault. It's not our fault. Down the road, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff I've read about in the big book, in that addiction can be described as an allergy. Some of us have allergies to alcohol. One of the funny jokes that I learned in recovery and at AA and in SMART meetings is people joke that we have an allergy and we break out in handcuffs. And of course, I was very lucky that I never did. Somehow, I always got away with it. Until I didn't. Until the day came that I admitted that I was powerless, and but honestly that I also felt eventually that I was empowered to take that power back. That's a lot of the same word. I need to use some word variety. Anyway, what I want to delve into, maybe you read maybe you clicked on the link on my main Facebook page, maybe you didn't, but there's a big difference between shame and guilt. Shame is a feeling of worthlessness. It's this innate feeling that you are not worthy of love, that you're not worth saving. Again, I come back to the word of worthlessness. Whereas guilt is the direct product of having done something wrong and feeling guilty for having done that. I encourage everybody to click that link and read up about it because it applies to people who are in addiction as well as people who are affected by loved ones who are wrapped up in addiction. It's a very important distinction because as an alcoholic, I spent all of my time living in shame. I felt worthless. To be honest with you, when I drank, I didn't really feel guilty. That became just, common practice. What I felt constantly was shame because I felt defective. That's why I needed help. I needed to reframe the paradigm, the mindset that I was worthy of love. And 313 days later, I think it's day 313, I'll have to check the fridge, right, Karen? I finally have flipped the script where I know that I am thriving in sobriety rather than feeling like I'm no longer struggling with alcohol. And eventually we're going to talk about the wall that you hit in recovery. It's usually around 45 days where you stop feeling like everything's awesome. And then it gets, that's where, if you can get over that hump, if you can get past the wall, that's where you start feeling like, okay, life is great. Life is better than it was bad, if that makes sense. And that's why I always use the hashtag and the phrase thriving in sobriety. It's a whole mindset that if you can just embrace it, it makes all the difference. At least it did for me. Like I said, that's one of those 30 solutions that I read about in the 30-day sobriety solution, which Google it. It's a really effective tool for a lot of people. So I use the comment section, just share your stories. And I hope that you're able to also take from this conversation and sort of say, okay, it's not my fault. I, as somebody who is connected to somebody who battled addiction, I couldn't have treated a problem I didn't know about. I couldn't have stopped this person's allergy. That guilt accomplishes nothing. That guilt leads to shame. It leads to this mindset, this feeling of worthlessness. So I want everyone out there who has helped and who might have their moments of weakness where they feel like they didn't help. All of you have been crucial in this journey, and I could not be where I am today without you. So one of these days, maybe tomorrow, we'll talk about warning signs in terms of what we can look for when we think somebody might be struggling with addiction. Or maybe we notice something and we're so conditioned to be like, Jim just, he had a couple too many last night. That's so Jim. Jim got into a fight with somebody. Oh, Jim. Yeah, he's such an odd bird, but that's just Jim. There's a lot of other warning signs, some really glaring ones and some really subtle ones, which I will go over. Yeah, let's do that tomorrow. And I'll share some of the warning signs that were in my life that Kayla started picking up on and that eventually led me to the point where I admitted I need help and I got it, and it made all the difference. That is enough talking in circles for today, isn't it? So, yeah, Mom, it was hard because, well, the literal distance between us, made it hard to see the signs. And again, I come back to the fact that, when I want to be, I'm one hell of a liar. I am really, really good at lying when I feel desperate, when I feel like I don't have a choice. So, something I'm working on. All right, I love you guys. I want you to have an awesome weekend, have an awesome day. I think it is the weekend, right? The days tend to blur together a little bit. But as always, as we fight through these tough times, this world is not coming apart. We are coming together. Check out my YouTube channel. Check out the blog. I promise I'm going to blog today and share a little excerpt from the upcoming memoir, 40,000 Steps. So look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Let me know in the comments what's going on with you. Can't wait to hear about it. Love ya.